meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and start the meeting. Today is Wednesday, August the 16th. We're gonna start the meeting at 11:40. We do meet quorum. And, I wanted to bring call the meeting to order, and if we can all, say our names.
Veronica Seisman, Christensen. Alex Huerta.
Esmeralda Suarez, Beckett House. Outreach Program.
Tomás Lares, Gray Center, Casa Rescate.
Misty Garza, Grace Center, Casa Rescate.
Pastor Iram Tellez, Great Center, Casa Rescate.
Nancy Cadena, Webb County Energy and Healthcare. Erica Lopez, City of Reno Health Department.
Dr. Richard Chamberlain, Health Director, Laredo Health, Liaison to Committees.
Christina Salinas, General Pharmacy, Business Development.
Juan Hurd, Laredo Fire Department.
Catalina Huero, Puerto Rico.
Andrés Hernández. Manuel Maciel, Liaison to the Police Department.
Elizabeth Alonso Villarreal, Venezuela, Nuevo
Freddy Corvalán, State. From Mayor, City Council,
And myself, Marina Moreno Medina, with, I'm with, what is it, Mr. Galo?
wherever you want.
And I'm with my purpose, y'all know. Okay, is there any public comments? Pastor, do you have any public comments, or do you
I
want
would just like to thank Ms. Marina for the invitation. We're here in Laredo, Great Center, Casa Rescate. It's a place where Jesus Christ is transforming the life of the addicts. We opened, God gave me the blessing, my wife, Genesis, and myself, to open this place 2 years and 8 months ago. And we've seen a lot of people go through our program. Not all of them, accomplished the goal that we're looking for, that, get them out of the streets and change their way of thinking, get them out of the drugs. But we do have a lot that have changed, like Mr. Tomás Lares. He was a homeless person that was into heroin for 7 years in the streets of Laredo. And one night, in a gas station, McPherson and Saunders, at 1 in the morning, I stopped to pump gas, and I saw a gentleman looking through the trash, and it was his brother. I asked him what he was doing. He said he was looking for something to eat. I told him we had a facility where we had a warm meal for him, because we offer a bed for them. We give them breakfast, lunch, dinner. We provide all their hygiene that they need. We give them clothing, secondhand clothing, but it's very good clothing that they donate. So when we do our outreaches in the streets, we go to downtown, which is one of the areas that's very bad right now in Laredo, under the bridges and the creeks, and the streets of Laredo, and all sorts of events that we can do. And that's why I'm very glad with the Lord for Sister Marina's life, that what she's doing for the community. She had us at the awareness that she did, the invocation that she did on Monday, the beginning of the month, and that was awesome just to be there. And I know people are finding out what's going on in our city, because the fire department, which have been in our facility as well, they know with the police department and the sheriff department what is going on in our city with all those drugs. That I traveled to all the United States, and there is a problem in every city in the United States, but Laredo is very affected with the fentanyl, that all the people that are died, I believe they're 48 up to now.
They confirm 45, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Or 45?
Yes.
Okay, 45 people, that's still a lot.
3 are within the county, so not within the jurisdiction, but that's 48. So
48.
Laredo is 45.
Okay, 45 within the city of Laredo, and that has to alert us. I've come to my own conclusion that at least 98% of the families have somebody in their house, somebody in their family that is using drugs. So it's very important, I believe, that we stand as a city, and different agencies like the ones we work. We've been getting together with Pillar and SCAN and Bethany House and City of Laredo. Once a month, we've been doing it, I believe, a year already, that we started. you know, we've gotten to know each other, and thank you for welcoming us to this meeting, and we're here to serve anybody. You know, if you have somebody that needs the help, they can come into the program, or also we have our classes that they could also come and join. The program is free to all to the people that get there and say that they're tired of the life they're living, and they're making a commitment of 3 months. 3 months. They could stay more. I have gentlemen that been with me for a year and 8 months, and they're still there. They don't feel ready to go out and tell them stay here, you know, just learn more, and we're trying to find them, you know, a job. We're working on providing, you know, some sort of education where they can get a certification as an electrician or a AC repair or a barber or something, you know, that we offer. We also offer them through Mr. Javier Hernandez from the School of Barbers there in Calle del Norte. We offer them a haircut every week. They give us, we take the gentleman and they cut the hair like to all of them. So the community is also working with us, and I really appreciate it, Doctor. Thank you. I met you at the fire station, and I see you in the news, Doctor, and I know you have a lot of work with all this that's going on, but we're here to help you. Anything we can help you. My name is Pastor Iram Tellez. I'm the founder of Grace Center Casa Rescate. We're on Facebook as Grace Center Casa Rescate. I would ask everybody if you could give us a like and share anything that you think that somebody in your page can see and can be aware of what's going on. Like these meetings, like we're taking pictures. You know, sometimes I have to be a photographer and I have to be an editor and everything, but we're doing it so people could be aware, you know, that what we're doing, that's our only purpose is to save lives.
Pastor Tellez, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't hear. Where is it you're located at?
We're on 1118 Commerce, right behind Crystallins.
Okay, yes, I know exactly what
There's a
that is.
daycare there that's been there for years, right across the street, First Assembly Church, right where the gate of Crystallin ends, that building,
Okay.
that's where we're at. We
Okay.
still don't have a big sign, we have a little sign on the side, but we're there, we're upstairs, and
Thank you very much.
that's where we're at. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just want to follow up something, Dr. Hamlin. I am appalled at the number of overdoses we've had, 45, 48 in the county. I wrote a grant for one of the nonprofits, the same grant that I wrote for the governor's grant that I wrote for the commission, which was funded. Was under Sampson. And I wrote Henry, but he hasn't responded yet. When I saw the funding, who got funded, that Texas did not get one grant funded for opiate overdose treatment. And let's say that I'm the worst grant writer in the world. I cannot believe that we, on the border, with the numbers we have, did not get funded. I understand last year they gave priority to methadone center in San Antonio and one of the hospitals in San Antonio. But here in Laredo, where in 1 year we've done over 130% increase, and then we're now at 45 and a half a year, it is upsetting to me, and I mentioned in this forum because I did write Henry, and I'm gonna contact him again and see if he even got it, but I'm just appalled that at the national level, they didn't even think of Texas, much less the border. And this is the way it's been, I've been doing this 35 years, and, we don't get the funding we need on a national or state basis. You know it as the head of the center. And so I just want to let that go by there. When I saw those, no one in Texas got funded, it was appalling to me. So let your congressman know, please.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and thank you so much, Jesse, for bringing that up. I mean, collectively, our loud voices can make us heard. And I know we've been doing amazing work for years and years and years, and just recently it's gotten louder, but with this information, we just need to be that much more loud. So that way we're able to bring in these federal dollars into the community to make the difference that we all do every day. But we do know that financial support helps to accomplish the mission that we're all behind. So-
And we've seen a lot of grants, I mean, I read the newspaper and there's like $1 million here, 500 there. We received an earmark but for housing, something separate. But, I do speak often to the staff of congressmen, so I'll be more than happy to also, advocate,
Yeah.
for the funding that it needs to be here in Texas.
Yeah, I'm
Especially
happy.
Laredo.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy a lot of,
Yes.
I'm very happy a lot of nonprofits have gotten funding, and we're just talking specifically about opiate
Yep.
use disorder treatment.
Mhm.
That was a very specific one, yeah. There's other grants, and I'm very happy that Pillar got 2 of them recently, and hopefully the city will get one, and everybody's getting something. But we're talking about the prices we have right now, and that's what really bothered me, you know.
Okay, we're moving
If I
on to.
may, I just
Yes.
wanted to congratulate Marina on her very successful event. It was well attended, all the organizations there that had a booth and everything, thank you for the work that you do, and Maria, your son, and everyone else.
I thank everybody that participated, everybody that was there, I'm so grateful.
Thank you, because they did that well.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me move on to approval of minutes, for July 2023. Can I get, first and a second?
Well, I had a comment. So there's, the first one is July 20th at 11:30, and the second one is July 20th at, 11:30 again, but there's two different ones.
Yes, the dates were, they were
It's,
mixed up.
typo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
a
one at the
tough
bottom
one.
is the June maybe?
Yes,
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 correct.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I wasn't here for this meeting, but I went over them, and if anybody has any changes, I motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second? Is there anybody that wants to second? First, Ms. Alonso, and second, Gerardo Montenegro. We're gonna move on to administrators report. Do we have anything else?
Well, once again, good morning. I want to say thank you to everybody who had participated in the last DAC meeting regarding the vaping ordinance, the text that's going to be, or that has already been included into our land development code. And so I wanted to share that the final reading of the ordinances went through on August 7th, so there was changes that were made. So 230140, an ordinance of the city of Laredo, Texas, amending chapter 24, appendices, Appendix A, definition, the land development code, by adding the definition e-cigarette and redefining tobacco shops to include e-cigarettes and e-cigarette related products. So that was included into that, so that's a definite win, along with ordinance 141, which was amending the land development code by increasing the distance for tobacco shops from any residential zone district, church, private or public, elementary, middle, or high school, daycare, licensed by the state of Texas, college, or university, public playground, park, and/or stadium from 300 feet to 800 feet. So there was an increase and included a bunch of other locations, as we had talked about, playgrounds, et cetera, that wasn't in there. So this is definitely a win for the community and for future planning that's going forward. Also, we identified the Catch My Breath, a youth e-cigarette prevention program, evidence-based. We have already established contact with UISD and LISD leadership, and there will be meetings facilitating implementing this program within the school district, so that way we can make sure that we're making the difference within our 5th grade up until junior year. So that was a win for us. I also wanted to share that at this upcoming council meeting on August 21st, we would definitely like to invite our partners, Pillar, SCAN, AMA, anybody who would like to be present, as we are continuing to be very loud about the situation, as we were just sharing right now with the group. Providing information about the overdose opioid response in Laredo. As we started the Overdose One Word Many Lives campaign last year in November, the fire department's opioid response team, of course the kickoff of our campaign, the Roots Recovery Center, which I don't see Dr. Martinez here, but that is scheduled to open in the immediate future, I am going to, say for sure before the end of next month. I don't have the exact date as I was wanting Dr. Martinez to be here so she can share that. The partnerships that we have, we're not limited to Pillar, Scan, Alamogordo Region, Laredo Crime Stoppers, LIC, UIC, Minds Purpose, DEA, et cetera. There's so many more that have come together with us. The One Pill Can Kill Town Hall, which we were very loud and we got to the level nationally on the DEA side, but we need it not just on the enforcement, we need it on the intervention side as well. So we need to continue with these types of events. The overdose prevention proclamation, which everybody was a part of, thank you so much for that. The Mike's Purpose overdose awareness run, and then partnering, of course, with Pillar on the harm reduction vending machines. We did have the first already that was approved to be put at Fire Station 3. And we're looking forward to many more. And so taking the lead from Pillar, we at the City of Laredo knew that it's important to continue to expand access to Narcan across the City of Laredo. So we have purchased cabinets, and maybe not as fancy but machines as Pillar, but just wanting to expand that footprint, especially in our 40, 46, and 41 zip codes, as we have seen the increase of calls and mortalities that are associated specifically in those zip codes. So these will go into our recreation centers so that there's access to them there, and then specific City of Laredo buildings as well. So if we want to collaborate more on that and make that awareness campaign shine even brighter, be loud about it. And then lastly, I know we do great work here within the DAC, but we want to continue to bring in additional members and start a monthly think tank for prevention, awareness, and strategy on this specific subject with as many of the organizations in the City of Laredo as possible. So that will be going out to, of course, members of DAC, and then pinging on every single one of the organizations that are major here in the community to come together, as it does take a community to make a difference. And so this presentation will be provided by Laredo Police, Laredo Fire, with the chiefs, myself, but then we're asking for members of our NGO, of our CBOs, NGOs that will be there to support, and also say a little bit about what your organizations are doing in regards to our opioid response. So once again, that is happening on the 21st, this coming Monday. City Council begins at 5:30, and with additional members coming from the DAC that will be there with their representing their organizations, we're hopeful to expedite that, bring that item up, since it does deserve a spotlight within the forum. So that's my report. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Dr. Chamberlain, to expand on that, I'm going to propose that sometime this year, we have a retreat of all our partners, and we do a SWOT analysis to look at where we're at, what are the strengths we have, what are opportunities we have collectively, what are our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I think that way we can come up with some type of cohesive plan. We're all working together, but I like the idea of there's so many different people that let's identify. We have a lot of strengths and there's some weaknesses, and obviously we have some threats that we have to address. I'm just saying, I would be okay for a one-day retreat on a weekend. We've done those type of things before. Or if we can start thinking about it sometime in the next year to come up with these things. There's a lot of work to do.
Agree. I think that is a brilliant idea and something that can be proposed via this think tank of all the different organizations. I know we have many in this room, but there's many that are not present. And as your chief health strategist for the City of Laredo, I'm pinging on each one of those doors to make sure that they do have a seat at the table, that they are aware that they do have a seat at the table, and that their presence is needed and required. So that way we can make a difference in our community.
Anything else? Any more questions?
Sorry, talk about it.
Okay, we're gonna move
All
on
good
to,
information.
we're gonna move on to discussion and possible action. The overdose awareness event update, you all already know it's a great success. I just have one more thing to add. I did invite Governor Abbott, and he didn't show, of course, right? But he sent me a letter. He sent me a letter and he recognized Mike's progress for what we're doing, and I'm super proud of that, and I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you. Also for the, Mr. Jesse, for the subcommittee, meeting, we need to set up a date and time. Do we just, the subcommittee?
When do you want to meet, so we can set a date? I mean,
I'm pretty flexible.
I'm pretty flexible as long as I have it planned out for about a month. You know, so we used to do the meetings before here, but I don't know, who else is on this committee? Just you and I and Marina?
We have subcommittees here, that we work towards, now that we're gonna get the detox, maybe, when they come out, like having a plan for them and stuff like that, right, Mr. Hernandez?
I think, and Jesse, please. I think
Jesse,
we-
sorry.
We do need to talk about that. Why don't we, my most flexible day is Mondays. And typically, Mondays, probably at about 3:30, maybe 3:45, I have to pick up my granddaughter, but, you know, all the drug court and veterans court is done by that time, and then I'm free at about 3:45. We could start having meetings, I can share my,
Okay, we can
I can share my
schedule.
DoxyMe link with you guys,
Okay,
and we can meet through that, and,
whoever wants to be a part of it.
yeah, and so,
Yeah, there were several groups that we.
Subgroups, yeah.
and we had that,
Yeah.
and at least on our subgroup was the co-occurring disorders.
Yeah.
But yes, we had different prevention and different subgroups, but, I would be okay, on,
Start setting up.
next Monday at about 3:45. If you'd like, I'll be happy to send you the link. So that we can meet.
Okay. Okay, we'll work on that then. Thank you. And then, moving on, we have a detox facility update, but, Dr. Martinez is not here.
I can share a little bit on
Yes,
her behalf.
okay.
So the detoxification center, I don't know if anybody's had an opportunity to drive by the facility on Chicago Street. It's looking more and more like the rendering that we provided at our council update back in January and February of this year, which is great. There's still a little bit of furniture that needs to open, and I just wanted to make the group aware that as much as we would like it to be fully 100% operating, basically meaning 24 beds open the very first day. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. It'll be a step-up process, so we're able to tweak policies and procedures to ensure that what was written in air and down on paper is now being translated into the operation. And we do know that when you're starting a business from the ground up, we're gonna need to make some tweaks. So staff are being onboarded. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 10 that we are sharing some space with, as they are our fellow organization. And we're very hopeful that, as mentioned, by the end of next month, probably a lot before the facility will be coming online and already bringing in the first patients to start. There was a recent request, as I had incorporated that into the plan, to have a psychiatrist on board. Previous city administration wasn't really so happy about it, but our new city manager is absolutely behind it, as that psychiatrist can also serve many other roles in our community, help out with our psychiatric FNP track at TAMU, since there is not a specific preceptor for that program. So we're very hopeful that with the additional dollars that have been contributed by the city of Laredo, we'll be able to bring in a psychiatrist that will be over the facility, but then also be submerged within the community to provide support to other organizations and the general community itself.
I don't know if you're aware how many psychiatrists we had. When I started in the field, we had 8 psychiatrists in Laredo. That was in the 80s. Right now, We're down to Homero, Dr. Sanchez, and Dr. Rodriguez, that's two. Dr. Foster retired, but Renee came in, Dr. Mogan Jr.
Yeah.
He came in, so we got 3 psychiatrists in Laredo. That's insane, you know, we don't have enough, and I do agree that, we're gonna be dealing with people that have co-occurring psychiatric substance disorders, you need to have a psychiatrist there.
I did, initially that was the plan, then it got downgraded just to a medical director and contracted with a psychiatrist, but it's come back up to have the psychiatrist
Right.
on staff with the city. of
And
Laredo.
ideally, you wanna have someone that meets the exam criteria that, you know, from the addiction study of medicine. And so, I don't know who your doctor is.
We will be recruiting as soon as it's able to be posted, which is, most probably, we'll be able to get by right now with the medical director, but we do want that psychiatrist on City of Laredo staff, so that should be posted, by mid-September, and then recruitment for that will start.
Hopefully you'll get one, we really
Yeah.
need it.
They're gonna have to get paid well.
Yes, we absolutely knew that, that they had to be, generously, incentivized, and that is where we are making sure that it's what the community needs.
Well, it.
Border region has all virtual and, you know,
Yeah.
they're causing big problems with people with addictions.
Yeah.
To the point that, well, it's bad.
No, yeah, I can let you know that at the detox that I ran for adolescents,
Mhm.
we had a medical director, Dr. Frank Wright, who was ASAM certified, and we had a psychiatrist available, and we had a clinical psychologist too, in addition to all the counselors. Because, you know, especially when you're dealing with adolescents, 12, 18, they're heroin addicts, you know, you do have a lot of issues. But we need the same type of care for adults. If we're gonna do this detox,
Gotta do it
we may
right.
as well do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yes, that was the first, is the
You might
generous
even wanna
incentive.
have, you know, addictionologist,
Mhm.
part of the psychiatric background that they have. It's gonna cost money, but that's what we need.
No, absolutely, and that has been, put onto the table once again, and I'm glad that our new city management is all about it, which is what we need. Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that information. We're gonna move over to stakeholder agency updates, and we have a presentation. We have, can you pronounce your pharmacy? Genoa Pharmacy, Ms. Christina Salinas. Do you want to do your presentation?
Yeah, sure.
Also, there's food, I don't know, provided by Ms. Cadena, Nancy Cadena.
Thank you.
You wanna, when she does a presentation, you're more than welcome to get a box, do boxes.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush, so if you guys wanna grab lunch, and eat while I'm doing the presentation, it shouldn't be too long. Probably you guys are.
5 minutes to get.
So Jesse, 3 psychiatrists, huh?
That's it.
That's horrible.
That's it.
State.
And Homero,
Romero had one foot in retirement 10 years ago.
He's kind of semi-retired, but, you know, he has the.
He's no longer promoting old lines.
The state is still
And he's in
recognizing.
good lines. I refer to him quite a bit. And Dr. Rodriguez, you know, Renee,
Rodriguez is the one on Corpus?
he's the one in my office, yeah. Those are my office.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I didn't know he was in your office.
Yeah.
But he has some,
the offices on Corpus, those belong to my wife and I, the office in the park. And we only rent them there.
is Judy still there?
Judy's still there. Everybody's still working virtually though. I still have clients with COVID. Last week I had 5. It's hard to get back like that.
And when's the promo?
Help yourselves.
Help yourself.
Myself. Excuse me, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Never imagined.
So you're with the, very thorough, you're never kind of,
No, no, no.
Oh, yes, I'll grab one and
I'll get on the way out. Oh, really? Oh, my gosh. Pretty good, what is it from?
They get along.
We just spoke
But you also end up. And you're set. It's like a vacation.
So you're in charge of that report?
No, Peter.
They're under probation, they're at the Justice Center, right? When?
are you gonna show us a video or something?
No, I don't have, we don't have any type of like presentation, we're not that fancy. But thank you guys for having me today. I have actually been with Genoa for about 4 years now. I was the only rep in Texas, for the first 3.5 years. So I was in like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio a lot. They finally, got me some help, and so now I can focus a lot on, Corpus, RGB, Laredo, San Antonio. So I'm super excited about that. So now I have more time to come and do meetings like these and get more involved in my community. Because this is what we do. This is not only something that's close to my heart, but it's something that is very important, and that's what we do, with the pharmacy that I work for. And so that being said, General Pharmacy specializes in behavioral health and addiction treatment medications. I don't know if y'all have, I mean, Puerto Rican, yes, because we're at Puerto Rican and we've talked to Pillar before. So I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with General Pharmacy. Yes, oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, so we, I'm glad to hear, because I always say we're the biggest pharmacy that nobody knows about. So we are actually owned by United Healthcare. We were acquired by United Healthcare back in 2019. And like I said, we specialize in addiction treatment, and behavioral health medications. We actually started off, if you're familiar with behavioral, we started off as a clozapine filling pharmacy only. Because the owner of Genoa was having a hard time finding clozapine for his brother. And so he decided to start a pharmacy, and like I said, we were a clozapine filling pharmacy only, and now we have over 700 pharmacies throughout the U.S. We are about to open, I think, our 40th in Texas. We were 17 when I started 4 years ago. So we've had huge growth in Texas, which is amazing. Why? Because it is such an underserved population. The need is there, and unfortunately, we still hear that the stigma is very strong, even with healthcare providers like pharmacies. And so we love it when we hear that patients are going in to pick up their medications and they feel safe, they feel heard, they don't feel judged. Because that's the population that we serve. That is what we care about. Again, this pharmacy didn't start with, oh, just somebody saying, you know what, I think it's a good idea to open a pharmacy. It was something that was very close to him. Like it was his brother that he was trying to help out. So we are a closed door pharmacy, meaning we don't do any type of advertising, marketing. We work directly with partners to service their patients, to service their clients. About 90% of our pharmacies are located inside of behavioral health centers like Puerto Rican. In the Valley, we are inside of 4 tropical Texas facilities. So my job as business development is to go out into the community. I always say I don't see myself more as business development as outreach, because I'm going out into the community to find out who can benefit from Genoa services. There's a lot that we do that you're not going to find at your traditional retail pharmacy. We have a lot of different payment options. So we do accept all insurances. Because we specialize in behavioral and addiction treatment, we are going to have all of these medications in stock on the shelf. The patient doesn't have to wait. So whether it's an injection, when we're talking about addiction, when we're talking about Vivitrol, Suboxone, Sublocade, we have them on the shelf, ready to go.
Okay, I guess I'll wait my question.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
No, that's really interesting. So the clients at Border Region have access to Vivitrol.
Yes.
How come it's not used?
It's not being prescribed. Yeah,
What's that?
it's not being prescribed.
And that's the problem. I don't know if you know the history of Vivitrol here in Laredo. We've been using it at the drug court since at least 2014. And the first 3 years that we used it, and I don't say we, the county, I never got out here, we saved the community over $500,000. All the grants I've written that has substance use treatment in it, I prefer the use of Vivitrol because it's non-addictive.
Yes.
It's an opioid receptor blocker, a dopamine receptor blocker. It's not like you're using methadone, because then you have to get weaned off of it, or or any of the other medications that you just mentioned.
Right.
But I think Vivitrol is best. We've had meetings about this, and we wanted to have it put on the protocol of our detox. I don't understand, how come, we don't, I would suggest that maybe you link up with, some of the representatives from all of these, so that you can train the doctors, because, one therapist or two therapists or different agencies, don't seem to make the headway with the doctors there, and they may prescribe naltrexone, because it's cheaper, so they're doing naltrexone, but Vivitrol is more effective.
Yes.
Especially for the opiate addicts, and even the alcoholics. I'm just,
Yeah, no, and thank you for that, because that's the feedback that we want to hear, to say, okay, what can we do we do work with, the drug reps to try to say, okay, who can we go to and talk to and say, okay, you want to use this medication, maybe you're not able to find it as easily, and here we are. So we can definitely get that.
yes,
Those conversations
yes,
going.
please, I mean, I'll give you the name of the representative from Walker. And I mentioned to the doctors, I said, let's have a meeting where you get CMEs and everybody gets, introduced to Vivitrol.
Yes.
Because it's not being used.
Right.
It's not being used, I'm.
And you go further up, and it is.
Of course it is.
Laredo,
And
we're not seeing-
Laredo has so many opiate deaths that if you have them on Vivitrol, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
That's the thing,
And I do know about a case of somebody that was getting Vivitrol here, but, unfortunately, they changed it to something else, and he went on he continued doing drugs, and he passed away in
Yeah.
a car
Oh, yeah.
crash. Yeah.
No, the Vivitrol works if it's being used correctly with a psychotherapy, with a model that's supposed to be used.
Right.
The broad spectrum treatment model with it, it works. Just, we don't have, the knowledge in the community. It's like we're thinking back in, I'm sure, I mean, they're using Invega, right?
Yes. Yeah,
So,
we see a
so,
lot of
so,
Invega,
so why can
yes.
they not use Invega and, Vivitrol? It's the
Right.
same type of act.
Right. No, I am 100% with you on
Well, I'm
that.
100% with you.
We should work together to get these meetings going. I would definitely love to be a part of that, because I feel like there is a lot more of the education that needs to be done.
I had a weekly meeting with all committees for about a year and a half. There was only about 3 of us in the committee would join in. And, COVID hit, and we had actually a grant funded that I wrote for the Drug and Alcohol Commission from the governor, that we were gonna use Vivitrol as a medication to treat people in the Webb County Jail that were opiate addicts. And then they were gonna get, have enough for an extra 2 or 3 months supply, so they got an agency where they could, and some of the clients could just go in the drug court. But then COVID hit, and, so it kind of fizzled, but yeah, I would be happy to give you the names, because we need to think differently. When I was a kid, I was born in 67, I was 66, but I don't know when methadone was popular, and it was important. I don't begrudge any medication-assisted treatment.
Right.
I'm just thinking that in all my years, Vivitrol is best.
Yes. We hear that a lot, yes.
Yeah.
And now, Sublocade is really starting to, pick up momentum as well. Yeah, those injections, we see it, there's a lot of doctors now saying, like, for example, the Invega. We're seeing so much better results with the injections. The adherence is so much easier.
It is.
So, yeah, we definitely, whenever we can educate, we love to do that, because, like I said, so the biggest misconception with our pharmacies is that we only service the patients where our pharmacies are. So I hear that a lot here. Oh, I thought you were only servicing border region patients. That is absolutely not the case. We have to be associated with a provider, a partner, a clinic, to be able to open our pharmacies, because again, we are closed door, but, we are not, owned by or, completely tied to the clinics where we are located. So again, that's where I come in, I come out to the community and say, hey, I think your patients would really benefit from our services. We do everything from help with, PAP applications, if there's any medications that, well, they qualify for PAP. We have our own payment assistance programs, we have a hardship program, where we try to get the patients the least possible copay. I've been in the pharmacy where a patient comes in, copay's gonna be something crazy like $250, and the pharmacist says, hold on, let me look, goes in, finds a coupon and says, okay, you're leaving with a $25 copay. We have the time to do things like that, we are busy, but, we do, you know, the thing about our pharmacies is that we're not retail, so we don't have 30 patients waiting in line and 15 people on the phone waiting for consults, you know, from the pharmacist. They're able to do a lot more hands-on, a lot more one-on-one, high touch with the people that we serve. And so we even, you know, we don't advertise this to the patients because, you know, we wanna try to get payment, but we also have payment options. We understand that adherence with this population is of utmost importance. You know, I talk a lot about, you know, someone who's on a hypertension medication. They don't take it for a few days, they're gonna feel a little off, they might have headaches, feel a little dizzy, their blood pressure's gonna go up. But as soon as they start taking it again, they're fine. You know, it's just, they just might feel a little off while they're not taking the meds. When we're talking about someone with with an addiction or a behavioral health, a severe behavioral health diagnosis, a few days off of their medications, it's not good. They cannot function, they can hurt themselves, they can hurt someone else. So, to us, it's of utmost importance for them to stay adherent. And so that's why if a patient comes in and says, I know my copay's $15, I haven't been able to work, I have $5 to my name, what can we do? Okay, or you know, there's patients that say, I'm on a fixed income, you know, I get a check on the first of the month. Okay, how much should you give today? $5, $3? Okay, we'll take it, we'll call you, do you want us to call you on the first to get the payment for the rest of the medication? They're still gonna leave with their medications, because that's what's important to us, is that they have access to the medications, minimal roadblocks, and that includes financial hardship. So we're gonna do whatever we can to make sure that they have their meds, they leave with their medications. And like I said, we are full service, so we can fill all their medications, we have special bubble packaging, we can do multi-dose packaging, we can do single-dose packaging. Those are very good for patients that tend to say, I don't remember if I took my medication. So they opened the little bubble, they took their meds, if they're still there, obviously they haven't taken yet, so, you know, those are really, really helpful. All of our services are absolutely free. From the packaging, if we have to mail deliver, if we have to FedEx overnight to a patient, like I said, the packaging, everything we do is absolutely free. We help providers with prior authorizations. We can initiate prior authorizations. So that takes a load off of a lot of our providers' offices because prior authorizations are a huge headache sometimes. And we work with a lot of big partners like Border Region, Tropical Texas, Hill Country, the Berg Center, Spindletop. We're opening a pharmacy with Dr. Jose Goa in McAllen. Yes, he's a huge advocate of Genoa.
Dr. Igoa was part of our meeting with Congress.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
I know wanted to expand into Laredo.
Yes, yeah, I did kind of mention that.
Yeah, so, I've met him on a number of occasions, yes, he was into that idea.
Yes. So he's very excited to have a pharmacy at his clinic. So we're now expanding to private practices, behavioral health facilities, or private practices where we can place our pharmacies to reach even more people. Because a lot of the times what happens is there's clients who say, again, because they're so scared of the stigma, I don't want to go inside outside of Tropical to go pick up my medications. I don't want to go inside Border Region and pick up my medications. Okay, we can mail them to you. Oh, and now we're like, okay, well, let's look at private practice. How many private practices do we work with that are big enough to have a pharmacy? And so that's now where, like Dr. Egoa. So yeah, we're doing great things. We are very passionate about what we do. We're very passionate about the patient population that we serve. You know, adherence to us is very important. Like I said, making sure that these patients feel safe. We're working, we just started working in the last 3 months or so with Be Well Texas in San Antonio. We're doing a lot, if not most, of their Suboxone. And they've had patients come in, Ethan, our San Antonio pharmacist, he's like, I've had patients come in, say, oh my gosh, so glad they started working with you guys. I feel so safe coming here. I feel judged. Like, you all know my name when I walk in. They don't see that, you know, unfortunately. It's so sad to say, but the stigma, as much as we say it's gotten better, there's still so much work to do. So we want a safe space for
You know,
them.
you mentioned Be Well Texas. Okay, so I'm aware of Be Well Texas, and some members might be here, be aware of Be Well Texas. There was lots of money for opiate treatment available from Be Well Texas.
Yes, they use grants to pay for the medications.
Right. Yeah, and this is when I was talking about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Everybody knows about Be Well Texas. That was here in the committee up to 2 or 3 years ago. It was announced. We had presentations on it. How many nonprofits applied for money for Be Well Texas? I'm a private practitioner. I have my own private practice, but this is what's discouraging. You know, I'm not in a position anymore. It's been years since I was an administrator in a nonprofit. You know, I can't make those decisions, but Be Well Texas was around. Everybody knew it was around. No one applied for that money. And I can't go and do this, do that, you know. It's there. We have a problem. No one here in Laredo that I know of applied for money from Be Well Texas. And we all knew about it, because I brought the people down from all communities. They told us about it. They said, apply for this. We had meetings. Nothing was done. So here we are talking about 45 opiate deaths. Here we are talking about Vivitrol that we've been talking about for years. When is it that we're gonna stand up and do something and say, okay, collectively, that's why I said, let's do a SWOT analysis. We have a lot of strengths, but sometimes we're our own threat. I'm
I
sorry.
agree. No, I am 100% with you.
Ma'am, I do have a question. Do you work for homeless population as well?
Yes, yes. So I was actually working with a program in Conroe where they were using, they were using like a voucher program. And a lot of their clients were the homeless population. And so what we would do is, one of the issues they were having was getting their medication stolen, right? And so what we would do is, with that particular program, for their homeless population, we would do the bubble packs. And so they would come in once a week to pick up their bubble pack for that week. So if for any reason it got stolen, we at least knew that that wasn't all of their medications. We still had in the pharmacy their other 3 weeks or whatever it was of their medications. So we worked with them on things like that.
And they also qualify for the delivery?
I mean, yeah, depending on, where they, like, I don't know.
Like, for example, right now we have a situation with a client. She always has seizures, like a lot of seizures.
Okay.
So she always asks like that she needs to go and pick up their medication.
Okay.
If in case like she qualifies for that program, since she has seizures, does she qualify like to deliver the medication?
Yeah, where, we're talking about a homeless patient?
Yes.
Where would we deliver to?
To Bethany House.
Okay, that was my question. I was like a little confused, sorry. I was like, I don't know how that would work. Yeah, we could even work with you guys to say, okay, if we're gonna service some of your clients, and So we have an art contest for our consumers every year. I think it's actually coming up. And the winners of our art contests get put on our field day cards, on our calendars, on our website. And so these are our field day cards. We have them in English and Spanish. So in each one of these, there's 5 cards that say different sayings, like you matter, you got this, you know, tú importas. So these are really cool. We give these out for free. So this is something that our consumers just look forward to. You know, it's something that they feel seen and they're so excited about it. And so this is, you know, a big deal for us. So I'll leave them on the table in case you want to grab on the way out. But those are just some of the little things that, you know, we do for our consumers. And we have hygiene kits. And so if you're ever in need of some hygiene kits, I can get you some stuff. I can order you a box of hygiene kits. So just different things like that. We've done where in the summer we do flip flops
The
or.
guys, what is escriban. The guys there, they can use those cards to write to their relatives.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I can give you some cards
We
too.
have 25 gentlemen in the, please.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll order some cards and some hygiene kits and I'll get them over to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, we're here. I can finally get out into my community and talk more about what we're doing, and we're super excited. I was actually hoping to get some time with Dr. Martinez because we're very excited that this detox facility is opening. I've worked with Outcomes in Brownsville. So, you know, it's just great to see that we're finally moving forward
Yes.
in Laredo.
I just
So
want,
baby steps.
I just want to remind everyone, and you know this, when we were talking about the detox, and this has been a groundbreaking effort we've been doing for years and years. We had consensus in our meeting that if we we're gonna do detox, but for the opiate addicts, we were gonna add a crisis intervention stage so that they could stay an extra 7 days so that they would qualify for Vivitrol, and Vivitrol was supposed to be on the protocol, right? We talked about that. I don't think it ever got to that point, you know, when they decided it, but we have such a crisis, just to give you all an idea, I mean, we have had a lot of opiate death, recently. In 2001, Laredo had the highest admission rate for adolescent heroin addicts in the state of Texas in 2001. So where are they now? Well, I went to some of the funerals, and some of them are still using, and I've seen some of them in the drug court. This is an issue that, you know, because where we're at, it's so easily available. And, you know, we've got to start looking at things differently, I think. But, yeah, I'll get your number and put you in touch with the people from all regions. Maybe one day we'll have a meeting with a doctor, maybe somebody will decide to use Vivitrol.
That's what I was telling.
We have it.
That's what I was telling the pastor, they go to his center, they get cleaned up, and maybe he can set up with border region or whoever's gonna be in charge, and maybe they could just get the shot and go back to his center.
Well, yeah, the reality is, yeah, and yes, that would be a good idea, because the reality is, in 35 years in the field, I've never met anyone that just had a substance disorder. They all had co-occurring psychiatric substance disorder.
Yes.
And all the clients that we treat in all of the nonprofits, they're quadrant 4 clients. More severe psychiatric, more severe substance use. We can't get away with it. We don't have enough services. And so that's why I was excited when we got Invega and Vivitrol added to what we have. It makes a huge change. I mean, the drug courts and not the drug courts, the psychiatric courts in San Antonio and Bexar County, they use Invega all the time.
Is that another one, like Vivitrol?
In Vegas, there's a site injection.
Invega is a psych injection, Vivitrol, it's your substance use, and it works. It was originally FDA approved for all call users, but then it was then eventually approved for opiate addicts. But the original study that was done in '85 by NIDA, it was on Vietnam veterans, and it was specifically because a lot of Vietnam veterans were using heroin, And they found out that naltrexone was blocking the opiate receptors, but what they found out later was they were also saying, we don't drink. And so they found out that it's not only an opiate receptor blocker, but it's a dopamine receptor blocker. So for years, naltrexone has been around. But when the FDA approved Vivitrol, it's more efficacious because you give them a shot and you can't plan your relapse. Because once you have the shot, it's in your system. And if an opiate addict attempts to use, they'll immediately go into withdrawals and end up in the hospital, but they won't die.
It's a great medication.
It's a great medication. It's absolutely top of the line. I don't get anything for talking about Vivitrol, but I am a huge fan. I've investigated, I've written a lot of grants about that, and, you know, we have to move forward.
Yeah, and our pharmacists are certified to administer. And so if it was ever anything where, sometimes we'll do where, for example, we're working with a program and they're gonna be doing Vivitrol injections. We'll have the pharmacist come out, no charge. We usually ask to just have maybe like 3 to 5 patients that we're gonna administer to kind of make up for the cost of the pharmacist going out. So those are always some different, we just offer different, whatever we can do to try to get it done and get the patients the medication.
I'm gonna take a guess, Pastor Perez. Más o menos, si tienen 25 personas ahí, van a tener a lo menos 6 o 7 personas que están adictos a heroína, ¿verdad? All the time.
Más o menos.
Más o
More or less,
menos.
more or less.
More or less, right? All of them have co-occurring psychiatric and substance disorders because they all had adverse childhood experiences when they were kids and those issues weren't dealt with. They all qualify for services in Board of Regents and MHMR.
You know what I'm scared sometimes is that I've seen a lot of people that come from those clinics and they bring me a whole bunch of medicine and we have to research it. If they have a doctor's order, we have to give it to them.
Right.
But I ask them, like, schizophrenic, they're not schizophrenic and they're giving them a medication for schizophrenia.
Well, it depends because some medications that are antipsychotics are given for other things too.
Okay.
So it all depends. But my point is that if you have heroin addicts that have co-occurring disorders and you go to Board of Regents and say, hey, they're heroin addicts, we want them to use Vivitrol.
We do take like.
Yeah, so you.
Probably like a dozen of them, we
So,
take them to Puerto Rico.
so then, you know, once they're with you after 14 days, they can take Vivitrol and you just have to push them and educate them because that will save their lives. You know, if they're there for a long time, you know, that'll help them out, but, and don't be afraid of the psychiatric medication. People take antipsychotics for different reasons. Sometimes people have depressions, double depressions, that need an antipsychotic so that you can get out of it. Sometimes, you have, people, that have trouble sleeping, so they give them a small dose of an antipsychotic. It is, you know, the doctors are pretty good about that, and there's combinations of medications that work, but these are easy. Like, for example, if somebody actually has schizophrenia, they're gonna give them Invega. And if somebody is an alcoholic or a heroin addict, they ought to give them Vivitrol. And that's gonna make it easier for you all, I would believe.
Also, Mr. Tellez, SCAN tiene un programa de recovery coaches, les voy a pasar el contacto de mis colegas. Ellos también los ayudan a transportar y moverse y les dan consejería. Es muy importante que cuando alguien está saliendo de substance abuse, primero tengan de quedarse, porque es la base. Después moverlos si tienen como condiciones mental y también su recovery coach en SCAN para que le den su consejería y los estén moviendo.
Oh.
Con esos 3 complementos se le da un seguimiento más efectivo a la persona.
Ahorita estamos trabajando con Pillar, con
Pillar
SCAN
y-
y con Border Region.
Sí,
Right.
SCAN.
So Pillar, I believe it's every Thursday, they come with us. SCAN, they come and do like a one-on-one, with each individual
Ah, perfect.
that has already active services. No, they're not doing no new ones though, but they're already coming from there. We continue giving them that. If they, a lot of times they can come, and if we can't, we'll take them. We can work over there, because I do see the importance that once, I know they're having that service, and they're with us, they already have a place to stay, and we take them, they're more at ease. They feel more like, okay, I need help. Not only here in the program with, because our program is a faith-based program. Everything we do, people ask me, so what are you gonna give me to pray? I'm like, medicine, like they told me, see, no, that's all I give you, man. Like, we're gonna pray for you, and we're gonna expect God to do the work. But I've heard of this, and they talked to me about it. We've been looking into, remember we spoke about it. So I just think it's talking to the right people to give them, because a lot of these guys, they hear about medicine and, they probably don't even need it. They're like, oh, I want it. They think they're getting drugs.
And that's why when we're talking about vivid qualities, with the population you might deal with, alcoholics, weed addicts.
Those are the two worst.
Right,
The
okay.
heroin and the alcohol.
Yeah, well, the alcoholic's gonna die if they're, if they're severe, so those are the scariest ones to work with, but that's how come, Vivitrol is so good, because it's not addictive.
Yeah.
It allows the person that's addicted to close the neuropathways addiction, and so they don't remain open, and it blocks the craving euphoria for alcohol and blocks the opioid receptors, and that's why that medication is so good, because it's non-addictive. And I do believe that all treatment has to have a combination of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So spiritual that you're talking about is what actually buoys all our clients. If they don't have spirituality, they're gonna sink. They have to have that at least as their foundation.
Yeah.
And so, really, that's the balance. So I'm glad you're working well.
And thank you for that information, because I'm gonna look into that. Because, it's sad, like for me to know them, to have them there, 6, 7 months, and then they just leave. And they don't continue going to services, they don't continue, like where I can see them and have a follow-up with them. And by the time I know, I see a family member, I ask for them, like, he's doing the same.
And that's the perfect time. You have them there 6 or 7 months. Best practices for Vivitrol is 13 months. If you can have them 6 or 7 months with some type of organization giving them the broad spectrum model of CBT and MET and AA and the spiritual stuff, they're gonna come out much better.
Yes.
And follow-up is so important, and that's one of the things that I forgot to mention. I know, like, if I go pick up my medication at HEB, they're not really calling me to follow, like, hey, you didn't pick up your medication, what's going on? We have weekly refill due reports, so we call the patients. They don't get an automated call. We call the patients to say, hey, how are you doing? Your refill's coming up, do you want us to fill it? Hey, you haven't picked up your medication, what's going on? And then we'll call whoever we're working with, like say, for example, working with you, we'll call you and say, hey, so-and-so hasn't picked up their meds. Yeah, like.
Well, there we're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Because Tomas, he was in the streets, he was a heroin addict. So matter of fact, when he got there with me, this is him. And when you were passing, when he got there with me, he had been to the streets for 7 years. He already had like maggots in his wounds where he got it infected. And he got there with me. Now he's a staff member.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
it works for them.
he works with us in the ministry, and that's his job. So he's the one that helps us transporting the people, because who better than him that was there with me and knows the way we think and things with our behaviors. We're already anxious, and we're saying all these things, but in reality, we want to go do something else instead of going to Puerto Rico to get the help. None of them want to get a hold. I need to go to the emergency. They just want them to give them Xanax or give them something to feel that effect. And those are the things that we have to be very
That's
careful.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Because when if someone's gonna be doing Xanax or Nazepam, sedative hypnotic, it's only supposed to be a 15 20-day period. And everything else can be done with therapy. You can teach someone how to manage their panic attacks, specifically for panic attacks, and doctors are giving Xanax for years. And so, I have one client that I worked with this morning that, has so many different issues, but among them, he's been prescribed, and he takes 15 to 20 Xanaxes a day.
Yep.
And he's doctor shopping, and then he's an alcoholic, and then he's got so many other psychiatric issues. But it's insane that they give, it's supposed to be used for a short time. And there's better ways to treat people, and sometimes they don't even ask, do you have a substance use issue? You just give them a medication that's addictive. That's one of my pet peeves.
Our director now, Seferino Garza, he came out of the program just like ours, it was called Calvary Center.
Yes.
That's
I remember.
That's my father-in-law, that's Juan Garza.
Oh, that, your father-in-law?
My father-in-law, the only thing they closed, he's already 83.
Wow,
So he retired, he still has a church, but Severino, we call him Sefe, he's our director, he was there for a year and 3 months, and he used to use Xanax. But he says he would get 20 of those and drink them. And he started with a doctor, but then he would have to find them in other places because there was too many that he needed. So those are kind of things that we kind of watch out for, but talking to professionals, and thank you for reminding me here,
Thank you, Pastor.
because, dice mi papá que no sabe, está como el cielo, ¿no? Que no mira. So I didn't know better than, we had already talked about
Yeah,
that
yes.
injection, because we saw the other doctor, right?
Yes.
And we mentioned it and looked into it a little bit, but I'm gonna look into more, because that's the thing that I'm looking for. I don't want them to get like methadone, which I see them, like I work with them, and I work with an addict of heroin, and then I have to work with somebody that wants to get off the methadone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's painful to see them.
We try, we prefer not to dispense methadone. Even though we specialize in substance use disorder, we will do it if we have to, but we prefer not to.
Yeah, I know it helps them,
Yeah.
but they have to be on it like forever. So it's just replacing one thing with the other. For me.
For me, it's kind of like, when you're talking about bipolar disorder and you're talking about like lithium. It's a very old medication. It's still prescribed, but there's so many new medications that can help so much better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of same.
Thank you, Ms. Salinas, thank you, Juicy, thank you, Pastor. We're gonna move on to our, agency updates. I know that we need to go back to work, some of us need to go back to the office, so, is there any agency updates, Ms. Alonso?
Yes, so this morning, and I know some of you attended, thank you very much. Bedlin's Law takes effect September 1st. And pretty much what that means to drunk drivers, those arrested and convicted who have killed someone and they leave a child behind under the age of 18 will be required to pay child support. Even if the child is 10, they go to jail for 10. Person is 20 years old, they're still liable and they need to make restitution. So we did this, and today's my boy's
Birthday,
Birthday.
third birthday, yes.
And
it was done today.
Yeah, so I wanted to do something in his memory to just continue raising awareness, and thank you all for always supporting us in everything that we do. And we look forward to working with you all, and together as a village, like they say, we can do more. The drugs and alcohol, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Alonso, happy birthday. Okay, and, any more agency updates?
Sí, yo tengo mañana el Agency Outreach Jarvis Plaza, Friday, the 18th. The 18th, Jarvis Plaza from 10 to 12. And then the agency meeting will be on the 25th. Also from 10 to 12.
Yes, the vending machine has already been placed and turned on at the Fire Station 3 that's located near Martin High School. We are working right now to stock it up, and we are gonna have a ribbon cutting hopefully for August 31st. I'll send you all the invitation. But but starting, if it all works out, September 1st, it'll be open to public.
Thank you, everybody, thank you, okay, sorry.
Just for Border Region, our substance use program is relocated. We're now over here on 313 West Village. It's like right next to Chopsticks. And we're taking referrals, so if y'all want to send some over.
Which program?
The substance use? With
Oh,
Selena
okay, with
Norogo.
Selena?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I noticed that, I just didn't know which one it was, that's cool.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you, everybody, thank you for being here, and I want to adjourn the meeting. Can I have a motion? Ms. Alonso, Nancy Cadena, second. Thank you, everybody.